The children's rhyme echoes through the snowy streets of Yangzhou, a chilling prophecy in the making. The girl from the Liu family weds the heir of Jiu. Their union, a tale for me and you. But the general's sword and the emperor's might turn their world upside down in a single night. This is the story of the Great Wrong Dynasty, a kingdom barely 2 generations old, already teetering on the brink of collapse. Internally, the Yellow River rages, unleashing devastating floods. Externally, hostile forces watch like vultures, waiting for the right moment to strike. The real power lies not with the emperor, but with the regional military governors, who rule their 13 prefectures like independent kings, their armies loyal only to them. The imperial treasury is empty, and the court's authority is a hollow shell. Desperate for funds, the emperor hatches a plan. He will force a marriage. The target? Jiusi, the sole heir to the Jiu family, the richest clan in all of Jiangnan. The dowry he seeks isn't a princess, but the Jiu family's immense fortune itself. An imperial envoy is dispatched, carrying a decree that will change everything. But fate, it seems, has other plans. On this early spring day, Yangzhou is blanketed in a rare, heavy snow. Zhu Langhua, the sharp-witted matriarch of the Jiu family, receives a report. The roads are blocked, and a thick fog has settled over the Grand Canal. The envoy, carrying the emperor's will, is stranded, his cavalry stuck at the Changfeng ferry, unable to reach the city. For now, the Jiu family is safe. While his mother manages the family's fate, Jiusi, Yangzhou's most infamous playboy, is living up to his reputation. He's skipped school, gathered his band of rowdy friends, and rented out the entire Langshofeng brothel for a night of revelry. He is the carefree, prodigal son, seemingly oblivious to the storm gathering on the horizon. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, Yuru, the legitimate daughter of a humble cloth merchant, faces a crisis of her own. Her mother is gravely ill, and they have no money for medicine. Her only valuable possession is a beautiful white fox fur coat, a precious gift. She tells her maid, Yinhong, to take it to the pawnshop, only to discover a heartbreaking truth. Her stepmother, the conniving aunt, Yu, has already sold it behind her back end for a fraction of its worth. The buyer, none other than Jiusi, determined to get it back.
Lu Hu, her face hidden behind a mask, ventures into the snow with Yin Hong. They head straight for the notorious Langshofeng.
But they're stopped at the door, forced to wait in the freezing cold. Hours pass. Finally, the doors swing open, and out stumbles Jiusi, flanked by his laughing companions. Yin Hong nervously approaches him, trying to explain their situation. But in the dim light and confusion, a misunderstanding occurs. Jiusi mistakes her for the maid of the
Now, the Xian is everything. Jiusi is not a respected scholar.
A true gentleman. The very man Jiuguzi's mother constantly compares him to.
The mere mention of his name sours Jiusi's mood. He turns his drunken gaze to the masked Liu Yu. Instead of listening to her plight, he mockingly asks, in front of everyone, "What do you even see in a boar like the Xian?" The crowd snickers. Yuru is mortified, then furious. The desperation for her mother's medicine, the sting of her stepmother's betrayal, and now this public humiliation, it all boils over. She unleashes a torrent of anger, scolding Jiusi for his debauchery and arrogance, her voice ringing with righteous indignation. For a moment, Jiusi is stunned into silence. Then his own anger flares, but as he learns who she is, the daughter of the Liu family, whose father dotes on his concubine while his wife and legitimate daughter suffer in poverty, his anger melts away. He sees not an admirer of his rival, but a girl in a desperate situation, just like him, in her own way. He orders his attendant to fetch the coat and return it to her immediately. But the story of the white fox fur coat doesn't end there. Later that night, as
Jiusi makes his way home, he sees a small beggar child,
huddled and shivering violently in the snow, on the verge of freezing.
Without a second thought,
Jiusi takes off his own expensive coton, the white fox fur cloak, and wraps it around the child. In that quiet, selfless moment, we see the real Jiusi, a man far more complex and compassionate than the dissolute playboy persona he shows the world. Back at the Liu household, Liu, Yuru's mother, Su-wan, tries to manage her daughter's ambitions. She advises Yuru against attending the upcoming birthday tea party for old Madam, the matriarch of the most influential family in Yang. The guests will be daughters of high officials and prominent families, she warns. Old Madam surely has a match in mind for her grandson already. It's not a place for us. But Yuru knows this is her one and only chance to escape her grim reality and secure a better future. She's determined to go. Her stepmother, Zhang Yuer, certainly doesn't want her to attend and potentially outshine her own daughters.
But Yuru is clever.
Observing her father's expression, she frames her request in a way he can't possibly refuse, securing her invitation. The day of the party arrives.
The drawing room of the mansion is a spectacle of wealth and ambition.
One by one, the young ladies present their lavish birthday gifts to old Madame the Rare, jewels, expensive silks, priceless antiques. Then, it's Luiru's turn. She steps forward and presents her gift, a simple scroll of her own calligraphy and a painting. A hush falls over the room, followed by whispers and stifled sighs. Her own stepsisters can be heard complaining about how meager and embarrassing her gift is. In a room obsessed with material wealth, Yuru has chosen to present a gift of the mind and heart. Has she just made the biggest mistake of her life? Or has she, in her quiet defiance, caught the eye of the one person who matters?
Have you ever seen a gift so perfect it wins someone over instantly?
At Grandma Yi's birthday feast, all the presents were lavish, but Leah Yuru's gift was different. She gave Grandma the formidable woman from a military family, a painting of a fierce female general. It wasn't just a gift for Grandma, but it was a gift for Liang Qingyu, the woman behind the title. This thoughtful gesture moved Grandma deeply. But the drama was just getting started. The matriarch of the Jiu family proposed a marriage between her notorious playboy son, Jiusi, and the eldest, the daughter, the Yun. The Yun was devastated at the thought of marrying him.
Seeing her friend's distress, Yuru hatched a brilliant plan.
The Yun should pretend to have all the opposite interests of Jiusi to make him call off the engagement himself. It was a perfect secret strategy. Or so they thought. Who would have guessed that Jiusi and his friend had snuck into the family home disguised as servants? They overheard the entire conversation.
Jiusi, listening to them plot against him,
Grew angrier and angrier until he couldn't take it anymore and confronted them. Startled, Yuru and the Yun called for the servants, and Jiusi had to make a run for it. After this chaotic encounter, Jiusi was convinced. Yu, who looked like a gentle, refined lady, was actually a cunning, scheming woman, a true Black Lotus. Word of the incident spread like wildfire.
When Yuru's auntie, you heard that she had offended the powerful Jiusi, she stormed in and slapped Yuru across the face without a single word.
The Yun immediately rushed to her defense. But it was the arrival of old Madame that stopped the scene. With a stern look, she sent Aunt Yu and her daughters scurrying away. Grandma, the Wa was incredibly impressed by how Yuru handled the entire messy situation. Yuru's quick thinking silenced any potential gossip and cleverly protected Jiuguzi's identity, preventing him from being exposed. If anyone asked, it was all just a simple misunderstanding. This minimized any damage to the family's reputation, and, most importantly, to the Yuns. Grandma, saw Yuru's intelligence and grace under pressure, recognizing her as the perfect model of a well-bred young lady. As a sign of her deep admiration and future intentions, she gave Yuru her own precious jade bracelet, secretly planning to propose a marriage for her grandson, the Xian, when he returned. Meanwhile, Juzi's friends, Chun Zun and Yang Wencheng, were fuming.
They couldn't believe they'd been outsmarted and chased off by a young girl and were determined to get their revenge.
Knowing that Lu Yuru disliked him, Jiusi decided to stir up some trouble himself. He found out she was heading to a rouge shop, likely to buy something to cover the slap mark on her face. Just as Lu Yuru and her maid were browsing, Jiusi swaggered in. With a smirk, he announced to the shopkeeper that he wanted to buy every single box of rouge in the entire store. What a power move! What will Lu Yuru do now? How will she get out of this situation? It seems the battle between these two has only just begun. Jiusi, a notorious playboy, and Lu Yuru, a gentle and refined young lady. Their first proper meeting is anything but romantic. Jiusi, for reasons known only to him, decides to corner Liu Yuru and publicly humiliate her. He knows she has a crush on the scholarly the Xian, so he forces her to admit that he, Jiusi, is far superior. To avoid a bigger scene, Luwu tearfully agrees, which only makes Jiusi look like a terrible bully in front of everyone. His friends even try to get her to jump into a lake. But then, something strange happens. A flicker of pity crosses Jiusi's face. He suddenly lets her go, and even gives her a pot of rouge to cover the tear streaks on her cheeks. 1 minute, he's slapping her down. The next, he's offering a sweet treat.
Lu Yuru is left completely bewildered, wondering what on earth this guy is playing at.
Meanwhile, back at the Jiu mansion, Jiusi's parents, Jiu Langhua and Jiang Ro, are wringing their hands over their son's future. They're desperate for him to settle down. Just then, a servant rushes in with shocking news. The infamous Jiusi has a girl he likes. Jiu Langhua is ecstatic and immediately orders his men to find out who this mystery woman is.
When they learn it's Liu Yu, the eldest daughter of a cloth merchant, they're a bit hesitant.
The Lu family's social standing is a step down from theirs. But hey, their son actually likes someone, and she comes from a respectable family. That's a win in their book. Without a moment's hesitation, Jiang Ro herself heads over to the Lu household to propose marriage, laden with extravagant betrothal gifts. Now, at the Lu house, the one who receives Jiang Ro isn't Lu Yuru's birth mother, but her greedy stepmother, known as Aunt Yu. When Aunt Yu lays eyes on the mountain of treasures, her eyes practically pop out of her head. But greed, as they say, knows no bounds. She has the audacity to claim the dowry is a bit. Meager Jiang Ro, an experienced and shrewd woman, sees right through this attempt to squeeze them for more money. She politely suggests that Aunt Yu should consult with the head of the Lu family, and, more importantly, with Lia Yuru's birth mother. Of course, Aunt Yu has no intention of doing that. She pockets the gifts and, without telling anyone, agrees to the marriage on Lu Yuru's behalf. Lu Yuru is completely in the dark until her loyal maid, Yin Hong, rushes in with the news. The Jiu family has proposed, and her stepmother has already sealed the deal. Lu Yu is frantic. This is a nightmare. In desperation, she sends Yin Hong to find her best friend, the
Now, here's a twist.
The Yan is actually the one who was originally supposed to marry into the Jiu family, a fate she dreaded. Luwu. Nuguru marrying Jiusi would technically save her from that fire pit. But Lu Yun is a true friend. She can't stand the thought of Lu Yuru suffering in her place. She rushes to her grandmother, the matriarch of the family, begging her to intervene and stop the marriage. But the old lady, explains, with a heavy heart, that it's too late. The official paperwork has been filed. In the eyes of the law, Lu Yuru and Jiusi's marriage is a done deal.
It's irreversible. When the Yan returns to Lu Yuru with this news, the look on her face says it all. There's no way out.
Just when things couldn't get worse, disaster strikes the Lu family. Lu Yuru's father is arrested for tax evasion. Luwu Yuru, heartbroken and furious, initially wants nothing to do with it. She blames her stepmother for selling her to the Jiu family just for money. And speaking of her stepmother, Aunt Yu sees the family is collapsing and decides to make a run for it, taking the dowry money and her own daughters with her. This is the moment Lu Yu realizes she can't just stand by. Thinking of the bigger picture, and especially of her own birth mother, Su Wan, she makes a difficult decision. She writes a letter directly to her new fiancé Jiusi. She lays out a proposal. If the Jiu family helps clear her father's name, and if the betrothal gifts can be officially registered under her name, it would secure her mother's position and well-being within the Lu family. It's a bold, calculated move from a desperate woman. When Jiusi receives the letter, he's completely baffled. What is this girl up to now? But as he reads it, the pieces click into place. He finally understands the whole sordid situation, the greedy stepmother, the false engagement, the desperation behind her actions. He's not a monster! And he realizes he's been a pawn in a much bigger, messier game. Furious, he storms home and has a massive blowout fight with his father. Zhu Lenghua is stunned, realizing his well-intentioned meddling has created a disaster. But before they can sort out their family drama, an even bigger problem arrives at their door. An envoy from the powerful Liang King. The Liang King had his eye on Jiusi as a potential son.
And he's suspicious.
He thinks the Jiu family hastily arranged this marriage simply to refuse the king's offer. Now, the Jiu family is trapped. If they admit the marriage to Lu Yuru is a sham, they'll be guilty of deceiving the king, a crime punishable by death. They have no choice but to double down. Ji Langhua and Zhang Ru insist that their son was already engaged and that the wedding is happening tomorrow. To ensure there are no more surprises, Jiu Langhua orders his own son, Jiusi, to be locked up. A strange mix of festive gongs and underlying tension makes its way through the streets of Yangzhou to the Jiu family mansion. When she arrives, there's an awkward, tense pause. But eventually, the sedan door opens. Lu Jiru steps out and walks down the long red carpet, officially entering the Jiu family home. The guests are all there. The hall is decorated. Everything is in place for a grand wedding. There's just one problem. The groom, Jiuge, is absolutely nowhere to be seen. And that's where we'll leave it for today. What a cliffhanger. What will happen to Liu Yuru? Now a bride without a groom. And where is Jiusi? Make sure you resubscribe so you daren't miss the next part of this incredible story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.